Well, hello, everyone out there in internet land. My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and welcome to Chattin on the Porch, our little nightly get-together where we hang out for a time and talk about the news, tell everybody what we think about what's going on in the world, see if we can't figure out what's going on in the world, give our reaction to what's going on in the world, and otherwise try to get through this thing that's going on in the world. We're on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. So please, if you have not done so yet, and you know you want to, why? Because Fedora Nation is quickly becoming the fastest growing audience on the internet. Well, at least I like to think so anyway. Of course, fastest growing audience on the internet is in comparison to a group of snails moving along together, but yeah, you know what I mean. Anyway, go ahead and subscribe to the channel on YouTube and on Rumble. Also, you YouTubers out there, check your subscriptions. YouTube likes to play little games with me, and I do not appreciate it as a hard-working host trying to grow his audience. I want to make sure everybody is subscribed. Also, please leave some comments in chat, hit the thumbs up, share the link around, tell your friends, your mothers, your brothers, your lovers, your sisters, your misters. Tell them all to get in here because we cannot grow unless we have you. Again, my name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. I am the common man with common sense. I am the fine fella in the fedora. And I go by so many other titles. Some of them I can even repeat on social media in decent company. We're on Rumble, we are on YouTube, we are on Twitter. We are glad you're here tonight. I'm glad you're here tonight. I have missed you guys since last we gathered on Saturday, and as usual, things are going on in the world. Crazy things in some cases. And we are going to get together and we are going to talk about it all. Good to have you guys here tonight. And let us see who all is in the house so far. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. TBA is here, says, howdy Fedora Nation. YouTube is screwing us all over again with their shenanigans. Indeed they are, sir. Indeed they are. WWG1 says, good evening, chat, and good evening. The wing nuts aren't decent. You can tell us anything. Oh, well, you really want to open yourself up for that kind of psychological discussion? Because believe me, my doctor's been hearing about all my things for you. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, let's see who all is here on the YouTube side. Miss Gypsy is in the house. Mr. Lowry, the right honorable Mr. Lowry is here. Hello, my dear. Hello, my node. Hello, my darling. Let's see who else be in the house. Yes. Hello, hello, hello. And we've even got some lurkers out there. You haven't chatted yet, but we're waiting for you to give us your comment. You're poor, you're tired. That thing you really want to say, but you just can't find the place to say it. Well, you can say it here. Really. You know, and all you lurkers over on Rumble, y'all know who you are. Yeah. WWG1 says, the dark recesses in Brian's head will give you nightmares forever. Dude, you have no idea how true that statement is. Oh, Lord. Do you have... Oh, my goodness. Oh, my word. Oh. Y'all, I got a problem. Don't go anywhere. I will be right back. I cannot believe I did this. I am absent one of my most important tools for the evening to help me do this live stream. So y'all do me a favor, talk amongst yourselves. Your host will be back here in about less than 60 seconds. I promise. It won't even take me that long. I will move with the speed of Mercury. Don't go anywhere. I shall be right back. Okay, we're getting close. Getting close. Oh, thank God. Molasses in January. More TBA, how dare you, sir? How dare you? How untoward. Oh my word. Y'all are just awful. Just awful indeed. I did see that, my dear. I did see that. That'll be an interesting discussion. That'll be a very interesting discussion. Sorry, I had to most importantly, I had to go get my glass. I can't do it. I can't do a live stream unless I got my drinking glass. I mean, the heck is up with that? WWGS, did you forget the multi-stream? I did not forget the multi-stream. I've been doing pretty good with that lately. All right, let me get adjusted here. All right, adjusted. Can is cracked. We've got the pour. Oh yeah, now we're talking. I can hear the fizz off the Diet Coke. Oh yeah. WWGS, where the hell was that? I wasn't gone that long, damn it. Man, y'all over there on Rump. You see, the fizz happened before I brought it up to the camera. Man, y'all over on Rumble, y'all just nasty tonight. Jeez. Woo. I don't know what happened to y'all at work today, but daggone. Y'all are just brutal over there. Anyway, glad you guys are here with us tonight. TBA is like sly grin. Yeah. Rumble's being very spicy. Your host is under attack. So TBA says I missed you on Sunday. Well, okay, let's get into that. Some explanations. Not really apologies per se, but I suppose explanations are most certainly in order. As you all know, I usually tend to spend my Sundays with family members of mine, more particularly my mother. We sort of have a ritual that's been going on for years. We will talk to each other at least once a day on the phone. And usually that is right after I finish this live stream, which is in part why I don't really take it that far past 9 o'clock. Interesting thing about that is my mom has turned into a night owl at 87 years old. So, I mean, she wouldn't, but, out of respect to her, I don't believe in calling her too late in the evening. And on the weekends, we usually get together. Well, this Sunday was no different, except in one respect. As I think I told you guys Saturday, my great nephew was playing baseball in a tournament here in our area. And, they played their games on Saturday, won both of them, by the way. And that sort of determined what time we were watching their games on Sunday. And that started at around 1:30ish. Well, now this is an interesting question. Does Ma Trippett watch the show? Let me tell you something about my mom, and this is not any kind of untoward comment about my mom. My mom is about as untechy as it gets. Okay. She has, and I'll just give you an example. If you want to talk to my mother, don't send her a text message. Don't send her an email. She doesn't use email. She barely uses text messages. And when I say uses them, she sees them. She'll never send you a text unless she is fat-fingered something by accident. Okay? If you want to talk to my mother, you got one of two options. You either go there in person or you call her on the telephone. That's it. Tech is not happening. So much so, in fact, that and you better call it. Now she has a cell phone. But she will. It's only for her. It's only for emergency purposes. You want to call her, you got it right, Leanne. You better call the house phone. Okay. As a matter of fact, to give you an idea of now, TBA says get her a smart TV with Roku and the Rumble channel. She can watch you on TV. That's true, except the only thing she's got is cable. She doesn't have internet through our provider by her choice. TBA says, I like this Lady RA sticking to her guns and not entering the 21st century. Buddy, you have no idea. And I love her for it. I do. I love her for it. As a matter of fact, she has a particular, she's very saintly. She has a particular television preacher that she loves to watch. And for the longest time, he was on a cable channel called Daystar. Well, for various reasons, he voluntarily took his broadcast down, but you could always find him over the internet. So every Sunday, I will take my laptop up to my mom's, and we've already got the cables hooked into the back of her TV. She's got this big 70-inch TV, and I'll hook up the cables. I'll do a hotspot on my cell phone, and she gets to watch her favorite television evangelist via the internet. This has now become like a Sunday thing. And so that tells you about my mom. So Sunday, we are watching my great nephew play baseball. And, in between innings or whatever, I'm sitting in the car and I'm flipping through my phone or whatever. And we get word about what happened down in Florida yesterday. And I turned to my mom and said, hey, shots got fired around the area of Trump. She said, wasn't now, this tells you how smart my mom is. Okay. The first thing she says to me is, did somebody take a shot at him? I was like, no. So far at this point, they're just saying shots were fired around him. Okay. Then a little bit later, I looked at my phone again. I said, hey, Mom, remember that question you asked me about whether or not Trump got shot at? She's like, yeah. I was like, well, I need to revise and extend my remarks. He was shot at. She's like, oh, crap. And so, my nephew's still playing ball. He had a 3:00 game. And after the games were over, and we probably left the ball field, I'd say probably around, I don't know, 4:30, somewhere in there. We had some errands to run for my mom, got her back home, got everything put away. I got back home at about 7:30. And that is in part why I put the post on Twitter thanking Alex Jones. And again, I don't ever expect these guys to ever see that tweet. Okay. And I guess maybe it was more for, I don't know. It was a thank you. It was a legitimate thank you. I don't expect them to ever see it. I don't expect those guys to see, this broadcast tonight even, but I'll repeat what I said from the bottom of my heart to Alex Jones, Benny Johnson, Jack Posobiec, the Quartering. And I could go on listing content creators yesterday afternoon that were absolutely digging into the internet. They were on top of stories. They were going through the shooters, social media, I mean, and I'm serious what I'm about to say next. From the bottom of my heart to every one of them, men and women, thank you. You performed a service like you will never even begin to understand. Okay. Oh, absolutely. I wholeheartedly concur with this. In an hour, they had this guy run down. TBA says citizen journalists rule the world now. And we're going to get into a little bit of that aspect because this story, the second attempted assassination of Donald Trump, is more proof than ever that legacy media, supposed mainstream media, old school media is dying. Absolutely dying. Okay. Never seen anything quite like it. It's really kind of amazing. It's genuinely amazing. Oh yeah, that's true too. And normally the Epoch Times is right on something, but man, I'll tell you what, from the jump, You know, the Alex Joneses, the Alex Jones. Yeah, a big old thank you to Elon Musk and good evening, Sir Ruben. I'm glad that you are well and hope and continue to pray for nothing but success and good things for you, sir. But yeah, even the Epoch Times was behind on this one. Alex, Jack, uh, Link Lauren. I mean, everybody was all over this thing. And we're going to talk about aspects of the story. I mean, I'm not necessarily tonight going to be able to add anything new to what maybe you guys already have heard. Maybe some of the details I provide you haven't heard yet. Um, oh yeah. Oh, we're going to get into that. We'll get into that. That was one of the most remarkable reactions to what happened yesterday, which I think in part is going to be fueling Trump's discussions on Twitter tonight. Which, by the way, I mean, I'm not necessarily planning on listening in on, but if anybody needs or wants to go and listen in on what Trump's going to be doing on Twitter, I will not be offended in the slightest. I get it. I totally understand. But yeah, big thank you to all those content creators. Because like I said, by the time I got home last night, because you guys know me well enough to know I've got to have some time to gather my stuff, compress, think, put together how and what I want to say. And by that point, it's like they had so thoroughly covered this thing. I mean, and not that I'm trying to, humble brag myself or put myself down here. What was I going to add by that point that they hadn't already talked about? At that point, the event happened at somewhere between 2 and 2:30 yesterday afternoon. By 7:30, after 5 hours, social media had this thing down cold. Okay? And they're like, and social media is looking at the old mainstream media going, okay, serve the ball, let's go. Let's have it. Yeah, he's doing a live thing tonight at 8:00 Eastern. Spaces. Nobody knew about this till this afternoon. I don't know what's going to be said, but we'll see. We will see what happens. But there are aspects of this story that I want to talk about, and we're going to do some real quick memes. And these aren't even necessarily in the attempt to try to be funny per se, but I got one of them that's kind of cute, and the others are really more in the way of statements about the world around us than they are about attempts to be humorous. So we'll get into some real quick memes, and then we'll get into the questions that I've still got as it relates to this. So with that, a lot has been made about, Taylor Swift's endorsement. And yesterday I was mad at Trump in the morning when I read that thing on Truth Social. I hate Taylor Swift. I went, will you shut up? Little did I realize what was about to happen a few hours later. But a lot's been made about Taylor Swift's endorsement of Kamala Harris and all that goes with it. Well, KF's Kentucky Fried Chicken has come up with a very clever response to this whole thing, and it goes something like this. The Taylor Swift special, 2 bony thighs, 2 small breasts, and a left wing for $8.95. Now, the Swifties, if they do eat at Kentucky Fried Chicken, I don't know how they're going to feel about this. The Swifties might not be all that hepped on this idea. Now, MAGA, on the other hand, MAGA is probably going to be like just running KFC out of food every day, But the Swifties, they might not be real hepped on this one. But it is a great, yeah. The Taylor Swift special: 2 bony thighs, 2 small breasts, and a left wing for $8.95. But does that include the drink? That's what I want to know. So there you go. Now, here's one that is it's fairly interesting. How many of y'all remember Venn diagrams from math class back in high school? Gotta give me an F in chat if you remember Venn diagrams at all. Okay. Well, never did anyone ever realize that Venn diagrams and politics would ever come into play with each other. Well, somebody has come up with a Venn diagram that accurately states certain elements that do on occasion cross each other. And I have to say, whoever came up with this one, they ain't wrong. So, Trump's dodging bullets. She's dodging interviews. The intersection of the two is they're both dodging something. There you go. Ruben, you always said the meme makers are having fun this season. Gypsy, I saw this comment in response to the whole thing about Trump yesterday, and you're right. You're right. It's just that in that moment, I saw it and went, don't do that. So we'll see how it plays out. Of course, like I said, given the events of yesterday afternoon, I think that comment just kind of went, Anyway, it kind of went fugazi or however you pronounce that word. Let's see, what else do we have by way of memes this evening? Oh, here's a good one. This one's pretty good too. Much like a Venn diagram, but not exactly the same thing. TBA says, my calculus is a little bit rusty. What's the area under that curve of the dodgy area? Well, I tell you what, while you're chewing on that question, chew on this. How many bullets does Donald Trump manage to dodge by holding up a hand and doing his best Neo impersonation? I don't know. But is it equal to one Kamala Harris hiding under a table? To borrow from Fox's phrase, we report and you decide. So there you go. I'm telling you what, these meme makers are extraordinary. Oh, yeah, we'll see. I rather doubt they will, but we'll see. Anywho, what else have we got? I think I've got one or two more. Oh, these next ones were compliments to Gypsy. And 9 lives, bitches. That's pretty good. And then we got one more, which is kind of going to lead into one of our discussions this evening about what happened yesterday and the mainstream media. It's this one. Yeah, and it's the Republicans that need to tone it down. Take that one for what it's worth. And like I say, we'll get into some of that a little bit later. And finally, in the way of memes, and I wish Seabass were here for this one, because Seabass would probably enjoy this one like you could not even begin to imagine. Various versions of this one have kind of been floating around the internet. And but this one I think is pretty good. Kamala is the Manchurian prostituter. Well, yeah, you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. I say that for you, buddy. You ain't wrong. Yeah, here's one that I wish Seabass were here for, because I think he'd really get a kick out of this. And it's, for he shall give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways, from the Psalms, Psalm 91, verse 11. I tell you what. Look, I know that there are people in my audience who are watching this now live and who are going to be watching this later on. Whether you're religious or not, I don't think it can be denied that there is something special that's watching over Donald Trump. Some people will call it karma. Some people will attribute it to luck. Some people will call it divine providence. But after 2 attempts on this man's life, there is something in the universe, I attributed it to God, that wants this man here on this earth still for some purpose. What that is yet, I don't know. But there's something guarding over this man. There's just no denying it. And I think this meme is just very appropriate to express that idea. So there you go. That's the meme section of the show. And with that, let's get into probably the one subject that we're going to be talking about for the remainder of our discussions this evening. And it is the second, not the first, the now second attempted assassination on the life of Donald John Trump, the former president of the United States. And we're going to start with NBC News. Headline: FBI says there appeared to be an assassination attempt on Trump at his Florida golf course. The former president was on the golf course and was immediately rushed to safety, his campaign said in a statement. Okay, this is more along the lines. Oh, okay. Well, we'll just leave it with the headline. Most everyone here knows the events of what happened. But if you're not familiar, I'll just recap it real quick. Good evening, young lady. Glad to have you here. Yeah, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you, dear. Oh, that's true. That's true, too. That's absolutely true. That poor woman is just... I have no doubt that she's a very... And I use this word and this expression with all due respect. I have no doubt she's a very tough lady in terms of being emotionally strong. But now, as you're at home at Mar-a-Lago, you're finding out that your husband, who has already been through an assassination attempt, which you watched on television, you're now finding out someone tried to take another shot at him, or was getting ready to take another shot at him again. I don't care how tough you are. That has got to be... I cannot even begin to think of what she, the kids, Don Jr., Eric, Ivanka, Barron, what they're all going through right now. I really... Well, and his other daughter, I believe her name is Taylor. I can't even begin to think what they're all going through right now. TBA says, I was interested to see that MSNBC was on the golf course videoing Trump playing. How did they... Oh, you hold on to that. That's one of the things. Tiffany. Okay, her name is Tiffany. I'm sorry. Thank you. Could not remember that. Appreciate it. TBA, you hold on to that question, brother, because that's something else we're going to get into here. Because, folks, everybody knows what happened. But there's stuff about this that makes not an ounce of sense to me. And I have a feeling, like I said, I don't know that I'm necessarily going to be bringing anything new here tonight in terms of, you know, what you guys may or may not already know, but I think it's good for us just to have the discussion, to just kind of talk amongst ourselves and see if maybe we're all kind of thinking the same thing, or maybe we've got different angles on some of the questions that we're all thinking about. And one of the biggest questions that I've got is this. Okay. Now, before I ask this question, let me set it up with a piece of information. This is from CNN yesterday afternoon. Trump's golf outing was a last-minute decision, sources say. This is from CNN's Kristen Holmes. Okay. Former President Donald Trump's golf game on Sunday was a last-minute addition to his schedule, two sources familiar with the matter said. Trump had no public events on his schedule for Sunday. Okay. Now, with that, I want to ask something. And before I do, I want to put one more piece of information up here. Okay. President Trump's golf schedule is private and only known by the Secret Service and a handful of high-level campaign staff. Even his advance team doesn't have access to it. How did the shooter know the schedule to be in proximity to the president? Now, I'm not familiar with this person, Old Rose Swig, okay? He's a social media influencer of some kind, to some degree. But he asks a very good question. Now, let's stop and think about this for a second. Let me set this up. So, according to CNN, the decision for Trump to go play golf was a last minute thing. I don't know. I mean, maybe it went like this. Somebody called up Donald Trump and said, "Hey, Donald, I'm down in Florida. You want to go get in a quick 18?" And Trump, being Trump's, like, "Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's awesome. It'll be huge. We'll have fun." You know, you didn't know Trump was Italian. So they make the decision very last minute. Trump's going to go play golf. Now, if what that gentleman we just read is saying is true, that the golf schedule is only known to the Secret Service and a small number of the campaign staff, his advance team doesn't even know about it. Okay. Again, how did this shooter know where Trump was going to be in order for him to position himself where he was to be able to take a shot? Okay. How do we know? TBA over on Rumble says, I heard that Sean Hannity and somebody else, Lindsey Graham maybe, ducked out of that golf outing. Now, Lindsey Graham, I don't know about. Now, Sean Hannity, that's very true. Hannity was invited to this thing, okay? But he said, look, my golf game's bad. I don't want to slow you guys down. I'm just going to thank you, Mr. President, but I'm going to sit this one out. And here's another question. Here's another one. Here's another one. Why didn't he pull the gun back into the bushes? Midmo, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. But how did he know? Now, here's the other thing that Axios, and this has been reported by various places. Oh, whoa, fishy? Dude, to borrow a line from one of my favorite movies, The Untouchables, this thing stinks like a whorehouse at low tide. This is beyond fishy. Okay? I got a story here from Axios, and this has been reported at various places. The suspect was on the scene for 12 hours. Let me say that again. On the scene for 12 hours. This is by, who wrote this? Mike Allen? Was it Mike Allen who wrote this? Yeah, it was Mike Allen. Okay. Check this out. The man suspected of trying to assassinate former President Trump may have spent almost 12 hours lying in wait, according to new court documents. The serial number, and listen to these things. The serial number on his rifle had been at least partially shaved off. Prosecutors charged Ryan Routh today with 2 gun charges: possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. Additional charges are still possible. According to charging documents released today, a Secret Service agent walked the perimeter of Trump's golf course, spotted a rifle poking out of the trees. The agent fired and Routh fled. At the spot he ran from, agents found a loaded rifle and a scope, 2 digital cameras, and a bag containing food. Now listen to this. Cell phone data showed Routh's phone had been at that same location since 2 a.m., nearly 12 hours before he was spotted. Okay. All right, hang on. No, this I did not know. Okay. Okay, yeah, send it over to me. I want to see this. I want to see it. Yeah, if you've got it, let's have it. Okay, so CNN reports that the decision to go play golf was last minute. Okay, maybe they decided the morning of, or maybe like Lindsay said, that Saturday morning that Donald Trump's talking to Lindsey Graham, and maybe as early as Saturday morning they made the decision to go play golf. Okay, but it's a very compressed window in which this decision is being made. Okay, fine. And look, Donald Trump may be a former president of the United States, and he'll always have Secret Service protection for what that's worth. But he is still a private citizen. If Donald Trump wants to go play golf, that's up to him. So, how it comes down, who knows exactly, but somebody gets the idea, hey, let's go get a game of golf in. And according to, what we're being reported, only a handful of people around Trump should know about this, which would be the Secret Service and only a handful of high-level campaign staff. Supposedly, even the advance team doesn't know about it. Now, and apparently, Trump is on the phone with Lindsey Graham Saturday morning, says, hey, I'm going to go hang out with some buddies of mine. I'm going to go play golf. You want to join in on this thing? Or maybe he didn't invite Lindsey Graham or whatever, okay? But, whatever is going on, who knows? But let's just assume for a moment. Well, no, I'm not even going to assume that. I asked the question again. How did this guy know to be in the place where he was 12 hours in advance of when Donald Trump was going to be on the golf course? How did he know which golf course to be at? How would he have found out any of this information? Because keep in mind, Donald Trump owns multiple golf courses, at least 2 in Florida. Mar-a-Lago for sure, and then this one, among others, probably. But at least 2 golf courses in Florida. So the guy had a 50-50 chance of being right. But still, he knows just where to be, and he gets there 12 hours in advance, according to cell phone information. Well, you're probably right. You're probably right. We'll never know. Okay. All right. All right. Backed out at the last minute. Okay. So Sunday morning. All right. Thank you. It's been sent. Give me a second here, folks. We have been given some updated information. Compliments of Miss Gypsy. Okay. All right. Hang on a minute. Let me grab this and throw it up on the screen because this is worth talking about. I mean, like I say, there are questions that are coursing through my mind and by the way, I don't think I'm alone in this. I don't think I'm alone in asking these questions. You guys are asking them. Millions of people across this country ask them. Even if they're not Donald Trump supporters, they ought to be asking them. Because Dan Bongino makes an absolutely fabulous point. This is not just an issue about protecting Trump. If the Secret Service cannot protect one, they can't protect any of them. We've got to get some answers here. That's an interesting thought. Backed out. Huh? Oh, okay. If you've got a link to that, good evening, small time. If you got a link to that, let me see it. I'm not saying you're wrong, but if you got something, let me see it. That's awful, but possibly true. Just saying. Good evening, Seabass. Yeah, that's just it. None of this makes any sense unless somebody around Trump's circle leaked this thing. Because like I said, remember what's being reported. The only people that know about Trump's golf schedule are the Secret Service and a handful of people at the highest levels of Trump's campaign. And the only people outside that group who would know would be that someone that Trump tells, maybe someone he's inviting to play golf. For example, Sean Hannity or U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham. Oh, okay. Just heard it on the Water Show. All right. Okay. Now let me go back up here and put up did not do a security sweep of the course prior to Trump's round. Oh, Okay. Ruben, give me updates on this. Again, like I said, if anybody this evening, because I mean, look, me, Donald Trump. If everybody leaves and goes and listens to Trump, I get it, okay? But, you're not going to offend me if you do. I appreciate you being here, and everything. But like I say, fair's fair. I'm not going to get mad at y'all if anybody goes and listens to the Trump thing right now. I totally get it. But I'm going to be here. These are questions I'm going to ask, That's a real good idea. That's a great idea. We need to flush this down the pipes. We need to find out where it's at. Yep. I agree with this wholeheartedly. So let me put this up here. Here we go. Did I? Okay, hang on. I know Gypsy just sent me this thing. Let me make sure I've got this thing pulled up before we. Oh yeah, here's what I'm looking for. Hang on. Okay, let me show you this. Gypsy just sent this over to me. Oh, hang on. Here we go. Oh, here it is. Lindsey Graham said he was speaking with Trump on the phone yesterday. Okay, so this was Sunday. Yesterday morning, who told him he was going golfing later. Okay, so Trump tells Lindsey Graham on Sunday morning, hey, I'm going to go play a round of golf. Wouldn't surprise me if he was the leak. The guy arrested was a proponent of the war in Ukraine with videos on his website pushing U.S. involvement, as is Graham. But what would be the connection? I'm not accusing Lindsey Graham of anything, but this says that, okay, outside of Trump's immediate circle, Lindsey Graham knew about the golf game. Okay. I'm not. People can hold their own opinions here. I'm not accusing Lindsey Graham of anything. I'm just saying we do know this piece of information. Okay. And Lindsey Graham is the one who's telling it. That Trump told him Sunday morning that Trump himself was going to go out and play golf. Okay. But again, how would this guy have known, but that somehow he knew himself? And if this secret about Trump's golf, when he goes and who he goes with, is that tightly held, I wholeheartedly agree with what is being intimated, or in some cases flat out said here in chat on both sides. Somebody leaked this. But that also begs the other question. All right, if there's a leak, what's the channel of communication that it went from the leaker to this guy? How did it get there? Plus, well, no, wait a minute. Here's something else to think about, just for grins and giggles. If Lindsey Graham is right, and Trump only told him on Sunday morning that he was going to go golfing, and this shooter was at the location 12 hours in advance, then I'm not so sure that, Lindsey Graham is under suspicion here. The guy would have already been in position by the time Lindsey Graham was finding about the fact that, Donald Trump's going golfing. Who knows? Well, that's true. Well, that's true too. That's true too, Robert. Yeah. Well, TBA, that's another great question. What if this was a setup to find Trump's leaker? The leaker inside Trump's inner circle. That's a great point too. Joe over on Rumble says, how long before the shooter is Epsteined? That's a great question, because I'm wondering the exact same thing. All right, back to more questions that I have. Okay. Yeah, and this is from Benny Johnson. It is confirmed that the Trump attempted assassin Ryan Routh obtained the firearm he intended to use illegally. The serial number on the rifle was obliterated. The mentally ill will never comply with laws, no matter how many restrictions you put in place. Oh, Benny, that is so true, brother. That is so true indeed. So only a handful of people should have known that Trump was going golfing. The guy was on site 12 hours in advance. And to go to something that someone brought up, I'm going to play a clip. I have not listened to this yet, but I want to show you a picture, and then I want to ask a question when this is done. This is from MSNBC. Listen, give me a sound check. Give me a 5x5 and let me know if this works. Wait a minute. Hold it. Daggone it. Hang on a second, guys. For some strange reason, no, it's not a strange reason. It has to do with my computer. Come on. Hurry up. We're on the clock here, people. Let's go. There we go. All right, give me 1 second, folks. I'll get this thing set back up. This is from MSNBC yesterday. Okay, as always, give me a 5x5. Let me know if you guys can hear this, and I want you to check this out.
So there's an inevitable sit down with protectees across the Secret Service spectrum about open air events. This is going to happen. I guarantee you. The question I can't answer right now is whether each protectee is going to go with the program. In other words, will Donald Trump, if encouraged by the Secret Service to stop golfing, or to change golf courses or do something, that's far more protected, will he abide by that? I think in these remaining weeks, I would take the advice of security professionals, whatever they say, but we're already living in a society where our nominees, our vice presidential nominees, are speaking from behind bullet-resistant glass at open-air rallies. How far can this go? How far can we fund, if at all, the Secret Service to put numerous drones up to see an aerial shot of golf courses, concerts, rallies? Is this going to become the norm? Where is the perimeter? Because the more you move a perimeter out, we're already hearing that this shooter was on the fence line or behind the fence line of the golf course. Where do you put your perimeter? How many agents, how many police officers will you need? Do you need an entire square acre? Do you need miles of perimeter? These are questions that almost can't be answered because they're cost prohibitive and resource prohibitive.
Frankly.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what you see right there, I'm sure was what you listened to, I should say, was a fascinating discussion between Jonathan Capehart of MSNBC News and, two contributors. I'm not sure who these gentlemen are. What I was more interested in was this. Ladies and gentlemen, if that is what I think it is, that was from West Palm Beach, Florida today, or I should say yesterday. Now, if what is being said is true, then I have another question. How did MSNBC know where Trump was golfing yesterday? Because supposedly, according to reports, and again, if I'm wrong, y'all set me straight. Y'all set me straight, okay? Supposedly, they were filming Trump out on the golf course. How did MSNBC know where he was going to be golfing? If the advance team doesn't even know where Trump's going to be golfing at, and only the Secret Service and high-level people inside the campaign know Trump's private golf schedule, then how the hell would MSNBC know where to set up to be able to film Trump while he's playing a game of golf? I mean, assuming, and again, and if I'm wrong, y'all set me straight, assuming that footage was yesterday at the golf course, how would MSNBC know where he's at? Small time? That is a great point. Okay, so this was old footage. Okay, all right, okay. That's old footage. Okay, all right, then I stand corrected. Midmo says, I know Trump loves golf, but he really has to take a break for a while. If he's the subject of such... Okay. Yeah. It might come down to that. I mean, I know that the poor man needs to relax, and he's under tremendous pressure, and golf gives him a way to do that. But daggone, this is just getting stupid. You know. TBA says MSNBC knew where Trump was going to be golfing the same way CNN knew to be at Butler. And to go back to Small Time's point, yeah. Same way CNN knew where Roger Stone was going to be when he's going to be rated. Good point. How does this, and I still go back to my very first question, how does this guy, this shooter, know where Trump is going to be 12 hours in advance? Which, by the way, according to reports, this guy, wasn't from around the area. I mean, what we do know of the man is very, I won't say sketchy, but we're getting a lot of details. But this guy moved around quite a bit. I mean, and when you find out when you learn that he's been around the world on very limited money, by the way, kind of has some more questions. But anyway, Maria Bartiromo from Mornings with Maria on Fox Business. By the way, Maria Bartiromo is probably one of my absolute favorite commentators over at Fox. Seriously, I got immense amounts of respect for her, just tons of respect. I've never really heard a bad thing said about the woman, but even the time I've watched her, she's great. She's just absolutely tremendous. But she had some comments this morning, and by the way, this is going to bring up another question here in a second. Folks, do me a favor, check this out.
According to the Secret Service, the golf course yesterday was not fully secured because, quote, Trump is not a sitting president. Oh, really? Let's take a look at the kind of security President Obama has. Since he's no longer a sitting president, we've got pictures here of President Obama's golf course in Martha's Vineyard. Secret Service inspects every vehicle when they even drive near the course, Cheryl. So what's the answer? He's not a sitting president, yet the golf course that he's on is incredibly secure.
All of these questions should be answered because remember, in the fiscal 2025 budget that has been proposed, there is a budget increase again for the Secret Service. And I think that this all goes up to the top, and that is Secretary Mayorkas, Maria. That's who needs to be answering these questions right now.
Okay, let's get into that. Now, Maria Bartiromo absolutely makes a completely valid point, okay? During the briefing that was done yesterday by law enforcement, somebody asked the question, wait a minute, why doesn't Trump have complete, full Secret Service protection? And the gentleman answering the question said, well, he's a former president, therefore he has a step-down security level. Huh? Well, according to Maria Bartiromo, former President Obama, you can't even get near a golf course he's at. They're inspecting every car coming in within shouting distance of the place. So Obama, also a former president, apparently has more Secret Service protection than Donald Trump does. But yet they're both former presidents. One's getting more security than the other. The hell's up with this? I got a feeling I know. And I love the point that is made here by Cheryl Casson of Fox Business. This goes to Mayorkas. I'm sorry. You have one attempt on the life of Donald Trump already. You now have a second attempt, and we're now finding out that between Butler, Pennsylvania, and West Palm Beach, Florida, nothing has been done to increase the amount of Secret Service protection that Donald Trump has. In other words, they haven't stepped up the level that he should be receiving. I mean, not only is he a former president, he's the leading candidate for president for one of the major parties in the United States. The man just had a second attempt on his life, and prior to that second attempt, Alexander Mayorkas has done nothing to increase Donald Trump's security. For the longest time, Alejandro, I call him Alexander, Alejandro Mayorkas withheld Secret Service protection from Bobby Kennedy Jr., whose father and whose uncle were shot dead at the hands of assassins. Donald Trump is nearly killed in Butler, Pennsylvania. 3 people, Corey Comptore, firefighter, is killed dead at Butler, Pennsylvania. Others are injured. And from Butler, Pennsylvania till now, Mayorkas hasn't done a damn thing to step up Trump's security. And here's another good point. Supposedly, we're finding out that this guy's had all kinds of run-ins with the law prior to this. And supposedly he was also on the FBI's radar. How did somebody with this guy's rap sheet move around this freely? TBA says lots of blame to go around. Oh yeah, there's a ton of it to go around. I'm not so sure I'd use the word blame, however. And TBA, let me explain why I'm saying I'm not so sure I'd use the word blame. Blame works from the assumption that this is an innocent mistake. I'm past that point. I'm past the point of saying this is an innocent mistake. Once you could pass it off to a whole series of bad coincidences. Twice? Folks, we're to the point now. And I'm not saying anything that you guys aren't necessarily thinking. And it's kind of scaring me that I have to go to this point. It's quite obvious someone's trying to kill this man. And I don't mean the perpetrators. I'm talking about there's something far more sinister going on here. Oh, you're being conspiratorial about this. If it walks like a duck and acts like a duck and looks like a duck, it's a duck. This guy did not act alone. He couldn't have. There's no way in hell. He had to find out from somebody where Trump was going to be in order to be there 10 hours in advance. Which means there's somebody else involved. Or a group of somebodies. And I'm deadly serious about this. I know I'll be called a conspiracy theorist. I know that people will say I'm nuts and I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry. There's no way this guy acted alone. It's impossible. Oh, hang on. My goodness. What is this? Just unbelievable. Yeah. This person was working with other people. He reported to have. Yeah. Exactly. Here's another. And this is another thing about this guy. Back in, what was it? 2000. What year was it? I'm forgetting now. I saw the headline, but I can't remember the year. He was convicted or found guilty of owning some type of weapon of seriously termed a serious mass destruction. None of this. None of it. And this is another great question we're going to get into. This guy should have been in prison with his rap sheet, and he's able to travel all over the world and only has $300 to his name. How's he doing that? Anyway, I want to play a clip for you guys. And I don't know if it's necessarily giving something that is informational, but it is observational. This comes from Larry O'Connor, who is the host of Larry and Company on WMAL. And this is something that we ought to consider here. And this is, not like I said, not necessarily informative, but it is very observational. Check this out.
But there are very serious questions now that need to be asked, that deserve to be asked, that I hope will be asked about our Secret Service. And let me just throw a couple of them out there. You're seeing a lot of analysts jump in front of cameras or write lengthy think pieces in their journals of choice and push them out on social media so that everybody can stare at their navels and be really circumspect about where things have headed with the Secret Service and how this is terrible for our system, that we, the people, can't know for sure that our political candidates are being properly protected. And I'd like to just sort of throw the yellow flag on that one for a moment, because from my perspective, as a voter, as a citizen, and as a commentator and observer of all of this, I'm not seeing the Secret Service having trouble protecting our political candidates. I'm seeing our Secret Service having trouble protecting one of our political candidates. I don't think the question in front of us right now is what's wrong with the Secret Service? Why can't our candidates for president be protected? I think the question is, what's wrong with the Secret Service when Donald Trump can't be protected? The former question on why our candidates can't be properly protected would be appropriate if we saw this kind of near success of an assassination attempt on both sides, on all sides, but we're not. It's just Donald Trump.
I can't disagree with a word of that. I really can't. And the point, and Larry O'Connor makes an absolutely valid point. If this were happening on both sides, you could sit there and say, okay, we have a problem with the Secret Service. Don't get me wrong, even if it were Trump, I'd still say you have a problem with the Secret Service. But this, it seems very strange that the Secret Service doesn't have any trouble protecting any other protectee except Donald Trump. And let me be very clear here, okay? I am not advocating that I want to see anything happen to anybody. I don't care if it's Joe Biden, Jill Biden, Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, any family member. I'm talking anybody, okay? I don't want to see it happen to anyone. I don't care what political party they're a part of. I don't care what their ideology is. Nothing. But it seems very, very and O'Connor is absolutely right. It seems really weird that the only person the Secret Service seems to have trouble protecting is Donald Trump. Okay, thank you. I want to see that. I saw your message earlier, and oh yeah. Yep. Hang on. Oh, yeah, we need to talk about this. There's a lot of really weird connections with this guy, this shooter, and people who are already in the news. Let me get this pulled up real quick because this needs to be talked about. Give me 1 second here. Gypsy just sent this over to me. She sent it to me earlier. Hang on 1 second. Excuse me. Strange things are happening. This person, Edward Hickman, wrote an article dated August 30th, 2024. He wrote that bank accounts revealed that Thomas Crooks, from the first assassination attempt, made unusual payments to two individuals, including Ryan Routh from the second assassination attempt. He even connected Maxwell Yerrick as a CIA operative who trained Ryan Youth. But here's the weirdest part. I used the Wayback Machine and found that this information was not part of the original article, meaning the information's been added recently. Stinks have a 3-letter agency involvement. Check this out. Bank records of Thomas Crooks reveal unusual payments to 2 individuals, Ryan Routh and Peter Riddle. After his success in Ukraine, CIA recruited him for secret operations. Wow. Buddy, that is the understatement of probably the decade. Good point. I mean, there's so many questions about what's going on right now that make absolutely no sense. None. So what do we know about this guy? Well, this is from Axios. And I'm going to go ahead and drop this one in chat because, man, I will give Axios a lot of credit. They link a lot of different sourcing. TBA says it's not a conspiracy theory when you're right. I think we're past the point of conspiracy theory. We're way past the point of conspiracy theory. When someone's walking up and slapping you in the face with something, it's no longer a conspiracy theory. It's just, okay, when are you ready to start believing it? How hard do you have to get slapped before you finally do? Anyway, this is from Axios. What do we know about this guy? Well, try these informational pieces. Background. Routh's criminal history includes convictions for felonies in North Carolina in December of 2002 and March 2010, which prohibited him from owning and possessing a firearm. Mackenzie Lapointe, U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, said during a briefing on Monday. 2002 charge was for possessing a weapon of mass destruction, which was a fully automatic machine gun, according to Wired, which interviewed the charging officer in the North Carolina case on Sunday. Routh was also the subject of a 2019 FBI investigation based on a tip he was allegedly in possession of a firearm as a felon. The Bureau interviewed the alleged complainant, who did not verify giving the initial information. The case was closed. NBC uncovered over 100 criminal counts filed against Routh in North Carolina, mostly in Guilford County, though it was noted the outcome of each case was not clear. New York Times described Routh in an article as a former construction worker from Greensboro, North Carolina, though the newspaper notes he most recently was based in Hawaii. Both Semaphore and the Times reported interviewing Routh last year about his efforts to help Ukraine and offer his help as a volunteer soldier. In 2022 interview with Newsweek Romania, Routh described the war in Ukraine as definitely black and white and good versus evil. Routh's political views. Before Twitter suspended his account Sunday, Routh had posted online statements that indicated he was a Trump supporter in 2016. Yeah, I got a hard time buying that one. However, he turned against the former president by 2020, later expressed his support for a ticket involving former Republican presidential primary candidate Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley. Again, I have a hard time buying any of this. Records indicate that Routh voted in the North Carolina Democrat primary in March. He also made more than a dozen small donations dating to 2019 and totaling more than $100 through Act Blue, which handles Democratic contributions. In several posts on Twitter in 2020, the New York Times reporter Routh expressed support for former Representative Tulsi Gabbard. In a book that appears to have been self-published on Amazon in 2023 titled Ukraine's Unwinnable War, Routh described Trump as a fool and a buffoon and criticizes the former president for leaving the Iran nuclear deal. So that's some of what we know about this guy. Time magazine has the following: what we know about the suspect charged in Trump's apparent assassination attempt. "58 years old, vocal Trump supporter turned critic." Again, I have a hard time buying this guy was ever a Trump supporter. Hawaii-based construction worker. Routh has been, since 2018, the owner of Camp Box Honolulu, according to the company's website, specializes constructing mobile and towable units, storage sheds, off-grid bathrooms, and small structures across the island of Oahu. According to a LinkedIn profile, Routh was focused on simple economic structures to help address high homelessness rate in the United States. Criminal record, and boy, has he got a rap sheet. On and on it goes. Once supported Trump, which we talked about that. Involvement in Ukraine. We need to burn the Kremlin to the ground and put an end to Putin and Russia, he said, referring to Vladimir Putin. Since taking down GoFundMe page, identified as Routh's fiancée, Routh had gone to Kiev in April of that year. He planned on staying at least 90 days. In an interview from Ukraine, he had gone to the embattled country himself. Quote, "To me, a lot of other conflicts are gray, but this conflict is definitely black and white. This is good versus evil. It's a storybook. Any movie you've ever watched is definitely good versus evil." And on it goes. And I'll go ahead and drop this in chat as well if you guys want to take a look at it. The funny thing about it is Time magazine makes a statement. We have no idea what this guy's political leanings are. Really? So we don't know what this guy's all about politically, do we? That's interesting. Funny. I think we got a real good idea what this guy's political leanings are. This is supposedly a picture taken outside of his house. Take a look at the back end of his truck. What's this? What is this, you say? Oh, let us zoom in. Oh my, he's got a Biden Harris sticker. Yep. We have no idea what this guy believes in. None whatsoever. Yeah, buddy. Here's a snippet of a video that was done on behalf of the Azov Battalion in Ukraine. Guess who winds up in this video? Hang on. Check it out.
Purpose of the action is to appeal to both leaders.
Hey, I know him. Isn't that our... You got it, folks. That's him. That's our boy. Yeah, but we have no idea what his political stances are. None. Yeah, she had horrible taste. You may be right. Just like Crooks was in a Black Rock. That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that small time, but you're absolutely right. Absolutely right indeed. Yeah, but we don't know anything about this guy's affiliations. Nope. Yeah, no idea whatsoever. Oh, wait, here's from his Twitter page. Talking about Trump, your campaign should be called something like KDAF, Keep America... Democrat free. Trump should be Massa, Make America Slaves Again, Master. Democracy's on the ballot, and we cannot lose. We cannot afford to fail. The world is counting on us to show up. Folks, does it sound familiar to me, or does this sound like a lot of Democrats, or particularly Democrat politicians? Oh, what are you doing? Blaming the Democrats for this? Are you saying that their rhetoric is causing this stuff to happen? I don't know. As always, am I blaming the Democrats? Am I saying that this is their fault? That this rhetoric is making people like Routh and Crooks do this stuff? I don't know. Well, I'll tell you what. You decide.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him. Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look, as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight. And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
And everybody's wondering where all this is coming from. I don't ever want to hear any Democrat ever again give me this crap about you guys on the right need to tone down your rhetoric. Shut up. We don't need to tone down anything. We've been taking too much crap for too long anyhow. No, I am not advocating violence, not in any way, shape, or form. But because we express free speech, oh, you guys need to tone down your rhetoric. What the hell was that? Thank you very much. Am I saying anything you guys don't know? No, absolutely not. You guys have been pointing this stuff out for years. But, by the way. So all this goes down yesterday, right? And what's the first thing the press does? Do they have an honest discussion about what happened? Oh, no. The reaction of the folks in the press is astonishing. Check this out from NBC.
Today's apparent assassination attempt comes amid increasingly fierce rhetoric on the campaign trail itself. Mr. Trump, his running mate J.D. Vance continue to make baseless claims about Haitian immigrants in Ohio. Today's
as though somehow this is Trump's fault. Man was about to take a shot at him on the golf course, and it's Trump's fault. But you know, NBC wasn't alone in this. I'll tell you what. 60 Minutes last night. Oh, this is just great. What did they air a special on? Keep in mind, the former president had a second assassin trying to take him out. What's 60 Minutes talking about?
Democracy stopped for about 6 hours. The vote was counted at 3:44 a.m. With 2 weeks until Inauguration Day, it was the Trump Justice Department that set the standards for the prosecutions. Decisions were made by career prosecutors who...
Yeah, they're talking about J6. They're more worried about J6 than the fact that a second attempt is made on the life of the former president. And hey, not to be left out at all, thank God we've got We've got ABC having covered themselves in glory with the debate. They didn't want to be left out of this glorious parade last night.
I also spoke just recently, Lindsay, with a former member of the president's Secret Service detail, former president's detail, when he was in the White House, who described how difficult it is to secure the area when he is playing golf, particularly at that golf course, the golf course that he usually plays when he is at Mar-a-Lago. This former agent told me that if the Secret Service had not spotted the muzzle of that gun sticking through the fence, that he would have had potentially an unfettered shot of less than 100 yards away, and that this very well could have been a successful assassination.
Wow. And again, Trump's fault. All of it, Trump's fault, his doing. Minmo says, stochastic terrorism. All right. Refers to the use of mass communication to incite random acts of terrorism violence or terrorism in a manner that is difficult to directly link to the instigator. Oh, buddy. So true. TBA says baseless claims of Haitians in Ohio. Crap on a cracker. Yeah, Democrats, the party of peace, love, and joy. Dude, I've been thinking about this. I want to put that back up there. I've been thinking about this a lot. If Trump wins this election, and when I say wins the election, I mean wins the Electoral College and the popular vote. Here's the question that I have. Will Jamie Raskin try to stop this thing on January 6, 2025? Because remember, he has said, hey, it's up to Congress to tell the president that he's ineligible. Would they really go that far? This could have... Yeah, he does. Jonathan Karl does kind of sound a little disappointed. Couple of more points, and then we'll bring the train into the station. Did you guys hear the reports about how this guy, this Routh, acted in court? You ain't gonna believe this. From the Post Millennial, suspect in second Trump assassination attempt laughs, smiles in court as he's hit with 2 federal gun charges. Article by Thomas Stevenson. Would-be Trump assassin Ryan Wesley Routh, wearing shackles and jail scrubs on Monday, laughed and smiled during his first court appearance for the suspected attempt on Trump's life on Sunday. He laughed and smiled around 4 times while he was speaking to his court-appointed lawyer, Fox News reported. No cameras were permitted inside the courtroom, where he's facing charges of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, as well as possession of a firearm with destroyed serial number. Routh appeared engaged and answered all questions asked by the judge in the 10-minute hearing on Monday. He will be formally arraigned on September 30th. The outlet reported that the other charges are possible, and the initial charges on Monday will keep Routh in custody pending more court proceedings. Routh told the judge he does not have enough income to hire his own attorney and would have to make use of a public lawyer in this case. He told the judge, now listen to this, that he makes $3,000 a month and has nothing in savings and nothing in real estate holdings. Okay, I have a question, and that you all have been alluding to all night long. This guy only makes $3,000 a month. He has nothing in savings and no real estate holdings. How in the world is this guy flying all over the world, going to Hawaii, he's going to Ukraine, he's traveling back and forth, he's doing whatever. Where is this guy coming up with the money for all this? How's he living? How's he doing it? I don't know. I don't know. Like I say, guys, I don't know that this tonight's stream has necessarily been all that newly informative. Yeah, okay. True. But then again, this guy's traveling all over the world. How the hell is he doing it? TBA says obviously somebody's funding him. That's what I'm starting to wonder. So like I say, I don't know that this stream is necessarily full of new information, but it's questions that I've got. And I'm sure you guys are thinking the same thing. You know, just weird. Let me rephrase that. On its face, it's weird. I just got a bad feeling that there's way more going on here than right now we're ever going to know. Oh, darling. Yeah. Bless your heart and bless everybody's heart. The American people should not have to be going through what they're going through right now. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not worried at all. The Federal Bureau of Investigations is all over this one. Yeah, buddy. All right. It's 9:00. I'm going to let you guys get out of here because I know you've got lives and I got lives too. So I want to thank you guys for being here tonight, for chatting on the porch. We're going to be back tomorrow evening at 7:30. Also, please remember, this Thursday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be here with one of my absolutely favorite people in the whole of social media. She is, like I say, probably one of the sweetest, most genuine individuals that I've had the pleasure of getting to know. And I think you guys, if you don't know about her, I think you're really going to enjoy learning a lot about this young lady. Please join me this Thursday night at 6:00 when That Tug Life comes on the electronic front porch for a conversation. Like I say, this is going to be a load of fun. Tugs is just genuinely good people. And, you know, I've always told you guys, I keep a list of people in my head that I want to have a conversation with, and I've been dying to get Tugs to come on here for a while now. So I am genuinely and really looking forward to this. I hope you guys are too. Anyway, that's this Thursday night, 6 p.m. Eastern. So keep that on your calendars. In the meanwhile, we'll be back tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern, for another session of Chattin. And again, thank you guys so much. And like I said last night in my tweet, pray. Pray for each other. Pray for your loved ones. Pray for your family. Pray for your country. For Trump, his family, even those you don't agree with. We're balancing right on the edge of something. We drop one direction, we go into something extraordinarily darker than where we are right now. On the other hand, if we fall in another direction, things might have the potential to get better. Not to say it's going to immediately turn around, but we have some measure of hope. And hope is a good thing. And with that, I love you guys. Thank you very much. And as always, it's faster horses. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7:30.